can't flip in sleep, can I? I've been awake since 4:30. Don't feel knackered or anything. I feel fully recharged, but a little bit excited. We had some big rain yesterday, early evening. First rain we've had for over a week. It was much needed, although the place is looking fairly lush and green behind me. I'd planted loads and loads of stuff around the lake, and we'll have a bit of a wander around there as we go. But because some of the stuff's quite high up on the sloping banks of the lake, they dried out, so the cuttings and new plants needed a drop of rain. Otherwise I was going to have to go around and hand water everything. There's no point setting irrigation up for all that sort of thing. So that's brilliant. We've had one shower. We should have had showers every single day for a week. We're still forecast for another at least week of heavy rain, but it's topped everything up. Right, I'm going to do one of my daily chores and feed the fish, and we'll have a wander around, eh? These don't normally come up straight away. A few of you have been asking what we feed our fish. It's pretty straightforward. These are better grow pellets. We don't give them an awful lot. 2 full cups of that morning and evening. And the last couple of weeks I've started introducing several balls of ram or lamb, whatever how you're supposed to pronounce it here in Thailand. The milled rice husk. The one we get has still got quite a lot of rice powder in there. Over the last week or so we've been posting quite a bit on Facebook. One of the photos was a Mekong catfish that I caught out of here. I was trying to catch the silver carp, the Asian silver carp, and the Gahor India, so the Catla carp. And the Catla carp have been going into the lake, and the silver carp are being oh, there's a Mekong that's come up. And the silver carp have been sparsely populated in other areas on the farm. They haven't grown an awful lot. The Mekong, I would have put it at about £10, 8, 9, £10. Should have got my scales out really. Oh, they're feeding well today. Should have been off the camera and get the rod out really. What we have noticed is the cattlers and the Asian carp in this pond are a lot smaller than the ones in the main lake, which we're going to go over to in a minute. The Mekong seem to grow the same speed or rate of knots as the ones in the lake as they do here, but yeah, the other two, I don't know whether the Mekongs are just out competing them. This one here, I put a couple of Asian carp in here. I don't want to put too many in because they really cane all the algae and they sort of like strip the goodness out of the water system. So yeah, I put them in here sparingly. Tilapia finished growing ages ago. 6 chador are still in here. The giant snakehead seem to be growing fine. I'm still topping up this pond with small fish, the little gouramis and the little silver bag of seal out the lake, and the glass fish. There's just billions upon billions in the lake. So anytime we put a trap in there or the lift net, some go in here and the rest go in the tanks for the snakehead back at the house. I tend not to give them, apart from the gouramis, to the alligator guy. They're a little bit small, but if I've got any dead fish, then they go in there. Not dead fish out of the lake, it's just fish that don't make it back to the house in time. Next up, the Hyacinth Biomass explosion pond. Now the water's come up from last night. I would say it's come up about 7 or 8 inches because this pond's a little bit lower than the land up there. So here and behind me fills up quicker than everywhere else. I did drag a bit out last week, but what I want to do is get the water level right up onto this lower shelf down there, and then I can just drag it onto the shelf, put it around all the plants and the coconut trees. Toon's put another tree in, Leigh, I can't remember, a frangipani or something. and the tamarins, sweet tamarins that we eat. So we'll mulch around them as we usually do. They've all had the goat muck round there, and then the rest are going to be repurposed around the fishing lake in the Hyacinth Beds, which I've set up a couple or three. I'll show you in a minute. So that's that. Next, a new area that was developed when Macro Man was here. This was one of the add-ons we had. It looked pretty barren when we first had it done because there was very little water here. So this middle island's I would say about 3 foot high, but now we've had the rains, it's all come up nicely. So at the moment this has only got 1 Asian carp in here. I want to put 3, maybe 4 in here. All the little fish that you can see on the surface down, oops, back smacking the camera, down here and there are snakehead. That's right, the ones we introduced a while back. It's not them. They've got in from somewhere else and they're bred. It can't be the ones that we put in from the drainage canal, which Toon calls it, because I don't think they're old enough. But yeah, they're in there, and we've got two new hatches, if that's the right word, of fry. Okay, loads to get through. Right, let's just jump down to Fran's peg and throw a little bit of bait in here. I'm not feeding the fish in the lake, really, guys, although it looks like I am. Well, I am, aren't I? It's minimal. It's more than anything else. It's just to get the fish into a bit of a routine, or some fish into a bit of a routine, that there's fish available here, food available here a couple of times a day. You see, there's not a lot of activity. Certainly after the rain, what I've noticed here, and certainly when we used to go fishing out and about when Toon and I had a life, the day after we've had heavy rain, it's the fishing is quite hard going. There's a few coming out. It's mainly the what I call the Sawai pups. You get a lot of them, and the Java barbs. The snakehead activity is pretty rife when you start throwing the pellets in. I'd say after about 5 or 10 minutes, when all the little silver fish come up, then you'll get like a pack of snakehead moving in, and they'll just sit underneath the surface, and they hit these small fish as they peck at the pellets. So when the water clears, I think the best way to catch snakehead in here is going to be throw a load of pellet in, let all the bait fish come, and then put a surface lure through them. But you can see at the moment the colour of the water is like a milky chocolate or a gopping cup of tea. It's going to take quite some time for it to clear because of the last lot of excavation work, the final excavation work that we got Macro Man to do on the lake. It's the subsoil. You know, there's a lot of clay in there, and it needs to wash down back into the lake. It sounds a bit numpty, doesn't it? Wash everything back into the lake. It's not. It's just the surface layer of clay and subsoil that needs to get washed away, and then that'll leave behind the laterite and the small stones on the surface, just like the camera, just like behind the camera here. Fran's peg still to be finished. But yeah, this is what we want. Now this is nice and firm, easy to walk on, but the new excavated area is far from it being like that. Although saying that, this has washed off nicely, grass starting to grow as well, because we do get quite a bit of water coming from up there, and it's sunk down quite a bit. We knew it would, but never mind. But yeah, this probably show you what happens. You get a little bit of erosion where you get quite a bit of clay, and then eventually it'll leave this stuff. So I've just been going around and scraping, trying to balance the edges off wherever it's a little bit high, scrape it back so you get a more even flow of water going over the side back into the lake, or the other way. Our first fishing sala over there. I'll go and show you that in a minute. There's a few fish coming up now. Tend to get the smaller ones around the gate area here. Still so much to do, but we're getting there, guys. We really are getting there. So good. It's a lovely feeling, you know, once we sort of like had our final game plan in place, what we wanted to achieve, and we've gone for it, haven't we, gang? Eh? Alright, girl. Sort of, haven't you? Eh? Bit early for you, isn't it? You got your mangoes yet? She normally goes and get her mangoes that have fallen near the fence pond in the mornings. Right then, got something very, very special to show you, and we have a chap called Chris to thank for this. Lovely guy. He's come and had two farm stays with us. Well, actually he stayed in the village house on both occasions, but been here on the farm every single day. And he donated, or pledged rather, I don't know what the word is, forked out this beautiful creation. Still a bit of a building site here. We've just been getting the guys to build a bridge for this. So this area was all excavated out further by Macromancer. Previously it was across here, all this was much higher, so they scraped that out and got the boys to make the pillars. They're a little bit off centre. But we just got the dimensions from the chap before the bamboo came here, and the guy's like, right, we better get the pillars ready, so as soon as it comes we can plonk it straight on there and make sure it's safe from termites and balanced. And yeah, it's quite good. If we get water flat, to stop it floating away in here, let's just pop down here. Don't worry, Eddie, I'm not going to squash your birds of paradise, mate. What a star he was, coming all the way here from Chiang Mai and bringing a load of plants for us. Yeah, so we've put some, well, the guys have put some metal rods in there and then just anchored it around there. So yeah, I mean, if we do get water flat again, it will come up over that, but not a lot. I would say it's about 2 foot deep here now, and probably about 3.5 foot in there. But look at this, let's get in there. Love the rickety old bamboo bridge that the guys knocked up. It's excellent. Got to take my shoes off, haven't I? Oh, wow, but look at the workmanship. And I tell you what, I was blown away by this so much that I said to Toon, let's get the fishing silers done by the same guy, and it's made something even more beautiful. It's lovely and cool in here, and Toon's going to be planting some lilies out here. We have started to put some plants around the outside just to get a little bit of height up there. I think it's going to be a lovely place just to chillax, have a game of cards, a few drinky poos, and just get out the sun. But lovely, isn't it? And when Eddie's birds of paradise start flowering, and we've got a few other bits and bobs. He bought another big plant for us, and yeah, everything seemed to be looking perky now, and I'm sure another couple of weeks it's going to be transformed. It'll certainly be transformed once we've cleared up all the building rubble. Now, some of you will have seen on our Facebook page again that we've also rebuilt, or the guys have rebuilt, what we call the kebab sala. This is where Toon and I used to eat our kebabs and have a few drinks at night. And when my mum came out, she's coming out again soon, not long now, Fran. It's just lovely place, right plonked in between the middle of the hyacinth pond and the crayfish pond. Let's go and have a look over there. And again, it's a bit of a building site, but it's turned into the lad's workshop at the minute. Got to put my Adder flip-flops back on now, haven't I? It's like it's turning into like Swiss Family Robinson farm. Love it. Okay, right then. We've put a few, I don't know what the name of them are, but over here they're called Silinton. It's a big old tree. Not sure if Toon has put that in quite deep enough. No dear, you haven't. I'll sort that out for her later, bless her. The ones I put in, no problem. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to lose a coconut tree. One of those bloody beetle things took out the middle thong, and apparently if you lose the middle one then they die, so we're not sure about that. But look at this thing of rustic beauty. All the eucalyptus used from here on the farm, all the roofing sheets we stole, really. We stole from Toon's nephew Leigh. He had taken it down from Toon's cousin's house that got destroyed in a storm many moons ago, and Leigh owed us a few bobs. So Toon was like, well, forget that, and we'll have all the roof that you took down. Fair dues. But look, we used a little bit of bamboo off the farm as well. You might think, what the heck have you done? You filled all the space up with a giant concrete slab. Underneath the slab is filled with sand, which we got for free. We just used Nulur, who does the building work here with Nulured. He kindly offered to go and get the sand that basically just gets washed off other areas around here onto farms and onto the roads. Took the guys 3 trips, not far away. Just used his iron buffalo with his trailer, came back, filled it up, wetted it down, reinforced it, and then a few inches of cement on top of that and smoothed it off. So it's lovely and smooth. It's a bit dusty at the minute from the storm last night. So the idea of this, it doubles up. It's a table that you can sit on and eat like that, but also it's a bed. Not very comfy, Leigh, I know, but we've got a mattress and we can suspend a mosquito tent from the rafters up above. So what a view, eh? What a view. Not so much the dog and the bits and bobs. Papaya still needs to come out. This is Toon's way of thinking. Can't take it out now, it's got flowers and it's going to have some fruit. I've got a black flipping 20 papaya trees, all fruit at the minute anyway, so that's coming out. And yeah, I just think it's so good here, because although we love our outside area near the house where the kitchen is, you don't feel that you're actually in the farm night time. So I mean, look at that. This is my favourite bit here, how it sweeps down. Brilliant. Nothing's quite straight, nothing's brand spanking new, but it just feels, I don't know, it just, to me, it feels and suits what we're trying to achieve on the farm. And yeah, I think it's really, really good. What we've got planned for electric in here is just a simple solar powered fan, and you just get a small panel with it, pop that up on the roof, cable comes down, feeds power to the fan, which has got a built-in battery, so it charges that up so you can use it during the night, but you can also charge your phone off it as well and have a light on there. So that's all we need out here. So people doing farm stays, you will have this as an option, certainly to use during the day if you want to pop a mozzie tent up in here, or the mozzie net from the top, and we'll have nice comfy mattresses available. Then yeah, brilliant. big enough for two. Right, that's that then. Palms are going crazy, brilliant. Well, the pasture's going crazy. I nearly said weeds, but in there you'll see our a small area of our Napier grass growing. There's a lot more over that way as well, plus a load of black sugarcane that we put in. We have started to harvest it now, so that will promote more growth and more shoots on each plant. So one Napier cutting, you get one shoot initially, you chop that off nice and low, and then you get a bush, and then each cutting it just multiplies and multiplies. That was lucky. Left my pellet down here. Gang should have had that. Good dog, isn't she? Lucky escape. Right, let's go and feed the big ones. Still got plenty of sand and stone left, which is good because the guys have now started working on the island. I'm going to say big plans for that, but it's really a totally enclosed area for the goats, so they can't get near the edge. I'm always petrified that a kid will get pushed in, and then in the future, you know, you got, I don't know, and not so much the giant snakehead. Well, if it's a very young kid, yeah, giant snakehead, and certainly alligator gars, and in the future there'll be a few chow prior catfish in there, and they'd have them away, you know, quite small baby goats. And not so much bothered about Bebo.
Not happy. Happy shower. Happy shower.
I do keep telling Toon, don't let her go in the lake. But when she gets hot, she has a little paddle, little lay down in the margins on the shallow shelf. I'm like, oh, don't do it. She won't listen. I think Bebo's on borrowed time. For those Bebo song fans amongst you, got a new verse, so stay tuned till the end, and Toon will do a lovely rendition of that. Right, and the big ones are still in the fence pond, basically because Eddie was too hungover to help us drain it and take them all out. What a state he was, eh? Right then. Oh, that's up high now. The issue we've had with not draining this down is when we got Macro Man in to do the lake, we got the level down quite a lot, but only enough really to get the work done, not take more out than we needed, because it wasn't at the end of the dry season. Although, you know, you look online when the dry seasons are supposed to be in Thailand, we can only go by what's we've experienced, and you know, this year it was predicted that we'll get a full-on rainy season that will start a bit early, and it did. So the level didn't get a chance to drop much more on the lake, and this fence pond behind us is at the same height as the main lake, so it fills up incredibly quickly. You know, if we drained this down, within 24 hours it would be about 3 foot deep again. That's no lie, it's just the rate of knots that it comes back in. So pumping the water down, this is about 5.5 meters deep. Take a long time to get the water out, and we just can't do it in the rainy season. So I think we're going to fish them out, which is nice, but it's a bit time consuming, even at the rate of knots that I catch them. Oh, bloody blast. Let's get some food in there. I might just turn the camera off for a second, launch all this in, and then turn it back on again. Not a sniff, and that's the effects of heavy rain on our ponds and lake here. So it definitely knocks them down quite a bit. We'll leave that there for a bit. They will start coming up. There's a few swells underneath, but normally they're smashing into that. It's like aquatic fireworks. Bloody typical. As soon as I turn the camera away, they start coming up. The ones that are coming up at the minute, this is quite gently actually, normally it's full on splashing. These are mostly the striped catfish, the Sawai, and underneath them will be the Mekongs. They seem to come up a little bit later on, unless I feed them very late in the afternoon, early evening, and then they sort of like muscle out the Sawai. They're all lovely and fat, and especially the Sawai, but I really do think there's too many in there for the size that they are. They need to get out and be put into the lake. So I don't know how many's in there now. I really don't. I know I've taken out, I think, 18 Sawai, 2 giant gourami and 3 Mekongs. That's all I've taken out of there. And yeah, they all need to come out, put in the lake, and then start again with something else. We just saw some Gahor Thai, the Siamese Carp, some that are a little bit bigger, but they're quite expensive. So we may be buying some more babies and put them in there and net it, stop the cormorants getting in there. Yeah, I think that might be a wise move. Certainly some Julian's Carp as well, the Esoc Thai. They're expensive fish. So again, even the small fry, like about 2 inches, you're still looking at about 20-25 baht for those. So yeah, we might earmark that fence pond for them. We're not going to grow any more Mekongs, I don't think. I think once they've been stocked in from out there, and there's another 9 to take out the pond over there, I think that'll be about 50 in the lake. I know it's a big lake and 50 doesn't sound a lot, but with the Sawai being big as well, I think that's enough for them. You know, that our lake is really suits a float fishing approach. I know a lot of people float fish for Mekongs, but not that sort of float fishing. Waggler fishing and pole fishing, that sort of stuff. And although we won't be able to pole fish in here for much longer, because you just get snapped off, don't want too many Mekongs. The Mekongs tend to stay further out. So I'll just show you this bit here. This is the Flemish cap, kindly named by one of our viewers. Out here. So the Mekongs tend to stay out here, and then right at the back of the lake where Macraman Point is. So I've only caught 1 Mekong out of here. I've not fished for them. It just took up my bread bait that was intended for something else. I'm still taking out the Sawai pups. I'm thinking about, I'm not sure, I should have put so many in. I don't know how many I've taken out now. I don't know, 60 or 70. I eat loads, I like it. And the alligator guy, I love it. I'm still chopping them into steaks for them. They're a little bit too big for them. They're about, I would say about £1, £1.50 in here now, most of them. Some of them touching £2. But yeah, my idea was just to use them as a food source. But yeah, bit of a mistake. Perhaps I should have just put them in the stock pond. Never mind. Chow Pryor will eat them later on. Eddie, some more of your plants doing well, mate. New shoots coming. Brilliant stuff. You might notice my Team England raft. Sign of a good raft. One that is hard to keep down. We'd left our rafts on the shelf where they crashed in the race, and then we had the heavy storm that night, and yeah, they set sail themselves. I don't know where Toon's is at the minute, but they are going to be positioned for people to see when they come and visit the place. Not had much chance to fish the glory hole over there. Very soft over there, very, very soft. The guys are going to be surprised when they come today. A couple of their posts that they're putting have a little bit leaning this morning. Loads of bananas been put in. I've put some cannas in down here. I've also put Gatin, the Leucaena. A lot of people think it's a weed. It probably is classed as a weed in all honesty, but we chop them down for the goats, so we don't mind them growing along here. I've put a couple of mulberry cuttings in. I'll have to do a separate video on all the planting that I've carried out. Right, behind the camera is our first fishing Sala. It's not in the final finished position. It's going to be where I'm stood now, but the guys are going to put little cement footings, and again they're going to put some securing metal work there just to pin them down, but we don't want it touching the soil. It's terrible for termites here, and I know it's already treated and we will treat it again, but we just want it up off the floor. There's a giant hedgehog, so it's open on one side, there's no floor, and the idea being that you can put chairs or a bench in here and a little table daytime, and then evening you can put your pop-up tent in here. We will be providing tents for those that don't want to bring one, or that are here on holiday and don't live in Thailand. But look at the workmanship in here. Wow. Right, let's stand in here, get a closer look. For those that are interested, this was 3,200 baht. It's just beautiful. Just the way he's done it, it's just everything's so neat and tidy. It's just, how everything interlocks is just brilliant. We got them to bring the roof line down almost to the height of these sides, and it's really twofold really. It's one, to keep as much sun out as possible, and two, to keep the wind out during the night, although you might want a nice breeze when the weather closes in. Then yeah, you don't want to be too exposed in a tent, but bearing in mind it's going to be dropped down about, that's about 2 foot, that drop down there. Yeah, it all looks a bit of a mud bath at the moment, but again it's the clay soil. It's all got to get washed off. You can start to see it forming now, or the laterite. But I thought, wow, what a view. It'll be even better once you're down lower to the water. The Flemish Cap, I think it's going to be a popular swim. Another Sala is booked for the glory hole, quite possibly one on Fran's peg. If it doesn't sit quite right, I'm going to get the tape measure out. Then the guys are going to knock something together similar to the kebab Sala, but it needs to have a grass roof. We need to be able to class it as temporary structures, you know, if people are camping, that sort of stuff. It's just something we were told by someone quite high up, and with us being Supagore land, just don't have loads of structures with metal roofs, and make sure you still use your farm as a farm. It's all right having a bit of a lake, and a bit of a lake, it's quite big, and having fishing, and people popping up a tent, but you don't build anything that looks like a bloody house, so, because you need permits for that. And I think you can only have one, and that's pretty much taken up with the farmhouse. So yeah, goat house is all right because it's classed as farming, but for people to fish under, then grass roof. And yeah, I might have to replace them every 2 to 3 years. It depends. They're going to take a right old battering from the sun, the wind and the rain. But yeah, if we can get a few more years than that on the bamboo, then don't mind replacing the grass roof. We've got all the right type of grass here on the farm anyway. Right, the Mekongs and the Sawai just about finished all those pellets. Here's the Hyacinth Beds. The first 3 of many. So we've got floating bamboo along here, aided with well, that particular bottle is a oyster sauce bottle. Prefer the Pepsi bottles myself, and yeah, very good for the fish. It's not particularly deep under there, and we might, I'm thinking we might have to take these sticks out, and because I'm just concerned that you get snagged up by fish on them. I don't think the hyacinth is going to be able to force the bamboo out into the lake as it grows, then we'll just start taking the old plants out from the near bank side, just to relieve the pressure on the bamboo. So that's the first one. I like this one in particular. Got some cannas planted down here as well. The only thing is the goats keep on having a peck of those as they're walking past. So at the moment the goats are still coming out every day up to the goat house up there. Once the guys are finished on the island, it's going to take a while. Then yeah, we can relax a bit. Everything's greening up so quick elsewhere. I don't know whether we could pick it up or not, but the far bank over there, I would say it's about 80% green now. This is something that we've talked about quite a bit over the years, really. You know, why aren't you planted up around your lake? It's just, you know, it's so open, so barren. And it's the goats. Everything that you put in, if they don't eat it, they'll rub their horns up against it or trample it to death. So, you know, we've always put it on hold. We tried a few things and they failed. Even the morning glory around the margins and that, they'll start pecking that out of the lake, which is, might think, well, it's free food for them, that's fine, yeah, but it's wet food, so it's one of the reasons they all got sick, or most of them got sick. So now that they, apart from we have the odd break down here, and they quickly trim all my napier cuttings that I've put in, everything's growing brilliantly now. Toon's been cadging banana plants off loads of people. I love banana plants. I love eating them. The fruit, the flowers. I know you can eat the heart of the plant as well. We've had that in a curry a few times. But it's a great source of food or nutrition for the goats. They love the fruit. They certainly love the leaves. Oh, I don't know whether you can see that. On an eddy plant there's one of our prized apple snails. Yeah, prized, we love them. I know a lot of people don't, but it's laying its eggs. It's got the pink bubble gum out. I think he's finished, or she, and should be popping herself back in. While the soil was soft, I've put loads of napier in all around the top. I think I've got all the way around to, yeah, behind the goat house here, and I think all the way past Twiggy tree over there. I would have got more in, but we ran out of sticks, and say it stopped raining, and then this just goes rock solid. So luckily it's just about all taken. Even the ones that looked dead at one point, they've sprouted into life. So it's good, get a nice thick root system up here, and it's free food as well. So the idea is eventually to have it on both sides all the way around the lake, and then Toon and myself can just come along here with Ben Hur chariot or the big trolley and just walk and cut and throw it in, and then wheel it back and straight onto the goat house. Drainage canal is full, not just the water but hyacinth and alligator weed as well. I need to take some of that out. God knows where all the snakehead are now. I haven't thrown a bloody frog in here for so long. We got about 40% of all that area planted up with the napier. We're busy cutting that at the moment as well, so it starts from here. I don't know, there's about a dozen rows all going like that. There's a few rows going across the back, and my corn. Corn's a little bit yellow. I refuse to put fertiliser on it, synthetic fertiliser. It's my own fault. I should have dug a load of compost and goat muck in there. Nitrogen is obviously lacking a little bit, and Toon picked up some fertiliser. Nah. I thought it would be alright, I really did, because I've even planted napier near it, and also Lucina They're both nitrogen fixers for your soil, but they're just taking a little bit long to get going. So maybe in the future it's going to be a system that we can do. Otherwise, I've still got loads and loads of seed. We got them off Macro Man, and I'm going to prepare a proper parcel of land and fill it with goat muck and do it that way. But I mean, the plants themselves look fine. It's just the colour's lacking a little bit. It's humid. I'm steaming up like a good one. Still nothing planted on the island. I'm not fretting at all. It's just that when the guys have finished the fence there, then the goats won't be able to destroy anything else. There's going to be loads of bananas. There'll be more Napier, parcels of Napier there. I don't know whether I can really do any crops like corn because it's the soil's like this. You know, it's not soil really. So yeah, bananas are all right. Just dig a deep hole, fill them with muck and compost and mix it with what little soil there is. They'll do all right. I think we might do the same for some dates. Toon's picked up a couple of date trees she's put in on a special island that I showed you earlier, and I think we'd like to put a few more in. Do like a nice fresh date. But yeah, certainly lots of Napier on there. I'm going to show you the swim called the Gravels. I just thought of that name, probably not the best one, but it is. It's probably the most gravelly section or stony section here on the lake. Lovely, eh? Sun in your face early morning, but it doesn't really have too much heat on it. But the good thing about fishing this side is you've got the sun at your back when it's at the strongest part of the day. Okay, you can see Eddie's plants. I don't know how many he bought. Flipping truck full. His tartar was bursting at the seams with Birds of Paradise. He wasn't sure of the name of it. You guys, some of you guys will know what it is. Let us know. This grows really big, and I'm clueless. I could Google it, couldn't I?